What's up? I'm Derek, three-time felon, local recording hip-hop artist from Idaho. I was born on the north side of Nampa, raised in foster care. I did years in jail and years in prison. This is Derek's World. I'm going to talk about my life, war stories, my music, and anything else I decide to. These are my truths and opinions. I don't wish to offend, but if I do, that's on you to let me know what you think about it in the comments. Yeah, this is Derek's World. Beer, sex, and hip-hop. This is the continuation of my story. In the first part, I told you how I went from foster care to prison. In this part, I'm going to tell you what happened afterward. Everything. While I was in prison, my mother was evicted from where we lived, and she was back at it, staying with whoever she could, but when I was released, she was staying with this older lady that my grandfather had dated at one point. This was the definition of a crack house. Dirty as fuck people, no one ever slept, everyone had some crazy conspiracy theories. My mom told me that these people were my family, and I couldn't help but wonder where these people were the whole time I was in foster care. Luckily, it turned out I wasn't actually related to these dirty fucks. We were staying in the garage of the crack house. People were constantly in and out. I walled myself off in the corner. I was treating it like I was still in prison. Wake up, shoes on, eating ramen noodle spreads, working out, reading, and not talking to no one. About a week after I was out, I was contacted by David and was right back to partying. Chapter 25, Free as a Bird with Broken Wings. I began recording as soon as I got a laptop. The My Reflections album, still under the name Crazy Lope, was the first thing I recorded. I had all them crackheads bumping my shit. These first few months out were hard for me. I felt like an alien. I didn't belong here or anywhere. I kinda missed prison, as weird as that sounds. During this time, I did go to see Pokey's mother multiple times, but that shit was hard for me. She literally turned her whole house into a shrine dedicated to him and would cry uncontrollably, which was understandable, but I couldn't be around that pain that often. The dude that killed Pokey did end up in prison, and I made sure the homies had him in PC. His mom and family wanted me to go out and get some sort of revenge on the other people involved, and that was heavy on my mind at the time. His family eventually started to hate me like I had something to do with it. I wasn't coming around as much as they wanted, and his sister, also rest in peace, started making crazy claims about me, trying to hook up with one of the bitches that was involved. I informed her that that was not the case, but she didn't believe me. I wanted to kill those people. I didn't want to fuck those people. But I later discovered that his sister was involved with friends of friends type of shit connected to the people who did do it. Pokey's brother even has kids now with one of these crackheads. And no disrespect to any of them. Do you. But don't paint me as the bad guy here. I love Pokey like a brother. I spent most of my time with David, and we would go to parties and get drunk. David and his family always made me feel like I was part of the family. I did eventually get a job. It's here where I started meeting a lot of people, and getting more comfortable being around people in general. I was still isolating myself, but managed to hook up with at least 12 girls from the crack house, and 5 from my work. I really thought I was him. I eventually moved into my own place with a friend from work. Life-wise, I was doing really good for the first time. Chapter 26, Daughter. One of those crackheads I mentioned ended up getting pregnant, and it was possibly 2 other guys. I did get the DNA test, and my daughter Serenity ended up being mine. I always wanted to be a father, and it's fucked up that this crackhead robbed me of that opportunity. I only found out because her mother was still doing drugs, and Serenity was going to be placed into the foster care system. I was faced with a hard choice. I mentally and financially couldn't support my daughter, and I didn't want the cycle to continue. Serenity also had a sister from a different father being placed into foster care. The state told me that the girls would be adopted together if I gave up my parental rights. As hard as it was for me, I still feel like it was the best opportunity for them. I didn't want to split them up like I was split up from my brother Dylan. His story ended horribly. They were adopted by the family, but the mother, who is still cracked out of her mind, gets constant contact with them. And I might get a picture every once in a while if they're feeling nice. The mother even has the audacity to blame me for what happened. Like, bitch, all I did was fuck you. The rest of that shit is on you. I began working a lot and drinking even more, when I rarely gave myself time for my hobbies like making music. This is when I decided on the name change. Crazy Lope just didn't feel natural anymore. It carried a lot of negative baggage. I decided on Derek IL. The word Derek in Hebrew translated into English means the way. It's where we get the word direction. And the IEL meaning of God or to God, with the Kyle, the Kai being like the Egyptian word for soul. It's unique and original, and it fit my newfound grown-up personality. The place I was living became solely mine, a house on the north side of Nampa. It was my house, well, renting, but it was my place. And my place became the party house. It was all about that beer, sex, and hip-hop. Chapter 27, Falling Angels. I began dating this chick, Angelina, that I met at the crack house. I wanted love more than I wanted anything. I was running through girls like it was a marathon, but I stopped when she crossed my path. She was broken, still is. Some people just can't get away from the drug life. I personally was never into drugs. Alcohol was my go-to. When I was younger, I did smoke weed, but never enough to be considered a pothead, and I never really vibed with it. So I do struggle with understanding when people like my mother and Angelina always struggled to just say no type shit. I let Angelina move in with me, which was a horrible idea. But I was in love, and you make dumb choices when you are. I remember the first time I broke up with her. About a week later, she was chasing me down the street. It was like a couple miles. I was walking somewhere, and she would get out of her van and beg me to take her back. This happened the whole time I was walking. I was just trying to get somewhere. I kept saying no, but in the end, the idea that she was fighting for me ultimately had me decide to take her back. Clearly, not only was she mentally unstable, she was abusive. She would hit me all the time over the littlest bullshit. For example, we were going to the bar that had a slot machine in it. The bitch, who never had a job in her life, loved spending my money to gamble. She spent like $50, win 10, and thinks she won something. Anyways, we get to the parking lot. I glance to the left, and there happened to be a big old fat huge bitch. Definitely not my type, but I was immediately being punched in the face. And this type of shit happened all the time. There was one time I slapped her for it, and all of a sudden everybody thought I was abusing her at home, and I was some sort of bad guy. It's funny to me because people knew her, knew how she was, and saw her do the shit she did to me. Chapter 28, War and Love. Angelina's ex-boyfriend was a constant problem. He declared war on me. He would follow me places, call me, stalk me, threaten me constantly, and Angelina would encourage this behavior by keeping contact with him. He would get her drugs, something I didn't do. My first situation with this dude was one day I get home from work and Angelina is gone. She left a note saying she had no choice but to go back to him, blah 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 type shit, and I wasn't hearing none of it. As I was trying to call her, he was texting me, clowning me, talking shit. So, I sent him videos of her sucking me and told him to have fun kissing her. Long story short, that bitch came home that night. We did eventually fight. I whooped his ass, and he pulled out a hunting knife attempting to stab me. Luckily, I was able to block and still catch him with these hands. I won the fight. Love makes you do stupid shit. Angelina and her friend gave a statement to the police, indicating to them that it was him and he attacked me. They arrested him down the street. The cops knew who I was and I didn't give a statement. They did try to get me to go to his court and testify. I refused to, and he was released from jail. That pussy even came and thanked me, saying we didn't have any issues anymore, but eventually, it was back to war as usual. This dude would later shoot up my house, of which was so common I barely even acknowledged. I would beat cheeks on Angelina and just go back to sleep. Then he would begin his journey of making homemade bombs. He would successfully throw a bomb and blow the front door off my house. I just fixed it and moved on. I felt like I was fighting for my right to be loved, but Angelina was not the one. She was the source of all this chaos. Her ex would eventually blow his hand off attempting to create another bomb. He lost most of his fingers, and I still laugh about it every time I think about it. I eventually broke up with Angelina for good, but she did come over anytime I wanted. She still offers, but I'm over it. This was my attempt at getting a little bit of my power back, if you know what I mean. Chapter 29, Cherries and Zombies. I would date many other girls at this time. The break from Angelina left a hole. As horrible as she is, there were times when I genuinely felt loved by her, so that's what I was looking for. I eventually met Cherokee. She was special, she was different, one of the most beautiful bitches I ever met. And most importantly, she wasn't a crackhead. I thought the drugs were the issue. I was wrong, but here's this story. We started dating and I fell madly in love with her. This was the first time I actually felt like the love was mutual from someone. I was happier than I had ever been, at least that I can remember. She was perfect and I saw no end to what we began. I was still drinking and not making music at this time. I thought I finally got lucky. All I saw was this happy ending bullshit. Cherokee was the mother of 2 kids, with the baby father being in jail for beating the fuck out of her, and she had no plans to go back to him. We dated for a while. I was doing all the gentleman type shit, paying for dates, opening doors, walking her home, and we got to the point where she was going to move in with me, and we were going to start our life together. Even looking back on this shit, I feel like this was my one chance to have true love type shit, but whatever. But her plans changed. A week from moving the rest of her belongings to my house, she randomly broke up with me. My world came crashing down. I literally cried like a little bitch. It hurt, and it still hurts to think about. She decided to get back with the father of her children. It's weird how these bitches do that. Give them everything they ever wanted, and they still find a reason to go back to the trash can you found them in. This destroyed me. Drunk as fuck, I took all her things to where we worked and made a scene, which resulted in me being fired. We never spoke again, but sometimes she would come into my new work and stare at me like she wanted me to talk to her. But I never did. I was a zombie, just putting one foot in front of the other.
Chapter 30. I give, they take.
I began letting my friends move in. It was a revolving door. Ruben, Jesta, Ghost, Bones, and eventually David. Ghost got my house raided by the police, got himself and another homie arrested. That dumbass was out robbing all our neighbors, including other homies. My landlord was pissed and told me not to let anyone else move in. But my friend David needed a place to live, and of course I opened my doors to him. No rent. He didn't pay for anything. He was my best friend at the time. But honestly, the only thing we really ever had in common was our use of alcohol. David took me for granted. I had one rule, because the landlord was watching. Not to show that he was living there, and to keep the shit low key. But David met a random girl in a club in Boise, and fell instantly in love, and moved her into my house without asking. David had people in and out of my house at all hours, upsetting the landlord.
Chapter 31. Goliath won this time.
So like I said, I had a new job and everything was going good as it could, until COVID-19. My landlord decided not to accept my rent money due to having people live there and told me to move out so he could sell the house. This punk even tried to give me 2 days to get out. I lived there for 4 fucking years. So I said, nah, let's run this the legal way. So he had to give me a month to figure something out. David and his girlfriend said that we would all figure it out together and find a place for us all to live. But one day, David and his girlfriend just disappeared. They moved out, leaving me behind. And then me and David fought over this. I won the fight, but our friendship was forever ruined by this shit. We did attempt to fix this shit, but it just turned into him pretending he didn't know it was his fault and claiming that they were going to come back for me.
Chapter 32. I drink a beer before I drink my beer.
At this point in my life, I wasn't speaking to my mother. During the war I had with Angelina's ex, my mother was not friends but associated with him, and I felt some kind of way about that. But now she finally got clean and got her life together, and she offered to help me. I again moved in with my mother, this time in Caldwell, cutting ties to everyone except Blaze. But even with no one to drink with, I still found time to drink. For 4 years. I drank every day to forget my traumas, just to be reminded of them in the morning with a hangover and a headache. I was an alcoholic, and I felt trapped in this addiction, and I was upset at myself for not doing my music. I again attempted to reconnect with David. We started drinking together again. I would go to their apartment just to have someone to drink with. I had forgiven him for doing that dirty shit, but it was one New Year's. I had contacted everyone to party. I was ignored, and the ones that did answer said they weren't doing anything. Just to find out they were all partying, but I wasn't invited. All that feeling like I was part of the family shit was nothing, so I drank by myself for the last time. David's own addiction did eventually put him in jail again. Leading up to this, he was calling me nonstop drunk on some suicidal shit, talking about we should leave here and run away together to Florida. This dude was tripping. Even his family was calling me, telling me to make sure he was okay, which I did. But he was arrested and blamed everyone for not bailing him out. And he stopped talking to me. But I'm fine with that. The friendship was built on alcohol, and I was ready to move on. I still wish nothing but the best for him, but he ain't getting shit from me.
Chapter 33. Put down the beer and pick up the mic.
As soon as I stopped drinking, I found that creative spark again to really focus on my music. I recorded my album, Gospel of an Idaho Rapper, with hit songs like Keep On Creepin' and Dr. Love. The response to the album was all I needed to really lock in on this shit. My next album was Angels in My Sleep, with hit songs like Defines My Name, Kruger, and Like Suge Knight, which again had a great response. I guess I'm a rapper. I began working on a part 2 to my original My Reflections, with one song going viral in Indonesia. Lay Your Troubles is my highest streamed song. I became the highest streamed local hip hop artist from Idaho from 2022 to 2024. And with that came a lot of hate. But hey, I was winning.
Chapter 34. Nah, it's nothing.
A proud, overweight female rapper from Boise named Bree Breezy began throwing shots at me on social media, and I took notice. I was actively looking for local artists to work with, and she was one that I was considering. But clearly she had an issue with me, so the choice was made for me. I was deciding if I should do a diss song or not. That Kendrick and Drake shit was happening at the time. They were going back and forth, and Not Like Us just dropped, so the rap beef shit was serious. And I did a freestyle about her. I didn't mention her name and I didn't tag her. I wasn't even sure if I was going to release it. But somehow she became aware and responded with her track, It's a Breeze, where she confirms that she was throwing shots at me. She was upset that I had more streams than her. She addressed my daughter, she claimed I purchased streams, and she said she didn't like my music and that she was a better rapper. This is after she asked me to do a song with her. Her diss track was a failure, and I responded with my track, Nah It's Nothing. Addressed the whole situation, had a catchy hook, bars, metaphors. Not to brag, but it retired her career for a whole year. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, and I clearly won. But being real, we don't know each other, and we don't have any real issues. People from Boise simply feel superior to Canyon County rappers. They always have. But it was fun to have a back and forth. Notably, her bisexual boyfriend Cassim Point dropped a diss on me called Ghost. It was also a failure, and I didn't feel the need to respond. This dude was trying to sound like Britney Spears on autotunes, and literally just said the exact same shit his girlfriend did, like she's the one that wrote it. And then Trip T dropped a diss song on her called Big Windy. In the end, I won, but felt a little foolish for getting into this whole rap beef shit.
Chapter 35. Suspicious.
Shortly after this is when I was hit with a false copyright claim on my song Kruger. This song was recorded in 2017. I did get the beat from YouTube with permission from the guy who created it, and it's been online since then, or at least it was. A non-existent person with no online presence claimed that the beat used was owned by him. He had no proof, no evidence, just a claim he filed somewhere. I had non-exclusive rights to use the beat, which anyone could use it. I didn't own it, but I had the rights to distribute the song I created with it. And since I had the song on multiple releases and a remix, my DistroKid account was banned from distributing my music. The beat was created by someone named Josh Miller in 2006 and had no ties to the person claiming to own it now. I contacted the person claiming my shit, and they admitted that they had leased the beat, meaning they don't own it. I filed a counter copyright claim with DistroKid and they ignored it, and have ignored every support ticket since. So fuck them for that wonderful customer service. I took a 5-month break from music thinking it was probably the end of my little rap career, but I eventually found CD Baby, and they are way better than DistroKid. I immediately got back to making music, this time more than ever.
Chapter 36. I just want to rap.
Let's see, I'll run you through my catalog. As of today, I released My Reflections, Bahagama Gita Loco, Gospel of an Idaho Rapper, Angels in My Sleep, My Reflections 2, The Death of Crazy Loke, Life Story, the Idaho Rapper Series 1 through 12 with 2 more on the way, Hood Rules Apply 1 through 5, 2 greatest hits albums, multiple mixtapes, multiple compilations of my older music. I have also released all of Barshots Productions instrumentals, and I'm far from finished. My life story is the result of a poor foster care system and a poor justice system in Idaho. It is the result of no support system and still finding the will to survive. But so many have not. My life isn't over yet, but this is where I'm at. I don't really fuck with anyone anymore, and I mainly keep to myself. Love those who love you and hate those who hate you, and leave everybody else the fuck alone. I don't forgive, I don't forget, and I don't repent. Hey. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this shit. I might expand on some of these stories in the future video, but I appreciate you being here. And shout out to all the YouTubers. This shit is hard. Anyways, thanks again. Peace.
Alright, that's it. It's over. I don't know what I said in this, but I appreciate you taking the time to check it out and to hear me out. Be sure to like or dislike, comment some shit, and subscribe if you like this shit. This is Derek's World. Also, I always have new music dropping, so be sure to check that shit out. Derek IL on all streaming platforms. Thanks for watching. This is Derek's World.